There are three major strategies going on in Chatham County relative to economic development. Now, one thing maybe some of you know, maybe some of you don't. I've served 8 years on the Chatham Economic Development Corporation's board. In the past 5 years, I've been chair of the board. And I've had the opportunity to work with the current Board of Commissioners as well as the ones that they replaced. And I will tell you that basically there are some very significant contrasts relative to that. The three major strategies, and I'm not going to get into that real strong right now, but I will in a few minutes after they speak, is we have three things going on in Chatham County. Number one, we call it the Moncure Mega Site. Down in the east portion of the county near Highway 1 is what we call a mega site, and as you can see, it's 1,000 acres, and if you get a chance afterwards, you might want to look at it. It's rail accessible, and it's going through the process of being state certified. It's probably going to take us 6 to 8 months to get it state certified. But that is a plus for us from the eastern side, because that's where the majority of the growth is coming. Many of us who moved here in Governor's Club figured that when the time came, the majority of the growth was going to come from Chapel Hill. We all thought it was going to come this way down 15501. And after we see Chatham Park and a few other things going, it's coming from the east this way. Now, this is going to be a light industrial site, but at the same time, it's going to be well managed relative to the environment. And there are some things relative to water and sewer that have to be done, but will be done in the state certification process. The other site is something you've heard a lot about. It's called the Chatham-Randolph site. The vast majority of that is in Chatham. Very small finger of it's in Randolph. It's 1,818 acres, and it's primarily designed for an automobile assembly facility. It also is the only North Carolina state certified site. No other site, mega site in North Carolina is certified. It sits in the Piedmont Triad region, which is considered in the southeast the #1 hot region for expansion of automobile manufacturers in the United States. It's considered the third best site, one of the three best sites in all of the southeast. And it has been fully state certified. Now, to give you a point of reference, it's 1,818 acres. How many of you know what's the size of the current size of Governor's Club? 1,600 acres. Right, so this thing is bigger than the site of Governor's Club. And at the same time, let me kind of mention one thing that's very important for relative to this. We will be talking to a whole series of automobile manufacturers. We had a site consultant who presently just retired from one of the major automobile manufacturers, and now he's out on his own. And we asked him to come. He actually called us and said, "Can I come and look at your site?" And we obviously wined and dined him and showed him the stuff and showed him a whole lot of things in the western part of the county. And said, "What do you think?" And he said, "In the 20 years I have been doing this, I have never seen a site this clean and this good. And you should be able to, you'll market aggressively, I know that, but you're going to obviously have a lot of people interested very quickly in your site." Now, this site is designed to bring about 1,600 to 2,000 jobs. And it's going to probably create about $1.5 to $2 billion in economic development to Chatham County. Now, let me give you a point of reference. How many of you have ever been to the BMW facility in South Carolina? Good. Just outside of Greenville. Did you wreck your car, Terry? No.
Try to wreck it.
That thing has been there for 20 years. Actually, it's been a little bit less than 20 years, but 20 years since they first signed up to do it. And we know that the state of South Carolina stepped up. How many of you really know what the incentives were that South Carolina stepped up to be able to get them? Any guesses? How about $500 million? $500 million spread out over 20 to 30, maybe even 40 years. So we're talking about an average of 20, 35, or $40 million a year to be able to get them. Now, that BMW site facility right now employs 8,800 people just at that facility alone. Fortune's just released an article in their magazine this past week that showed the economic benefit to the area is $7 billion. And so this right here, and as you can see on this site, we have actually overlaid the BMW plant on it. Now, not the fact that BMW's coming here, we just took their plant and we thought, hell, it'd be pretty neat. Let's just overlay this baby on it and see what it looks like. Now, if you'll notice, there's a whole lot of area for expansion because the automobile manufacturers now want their vendors to be near them, where their transmissions, windshield, shock absorbers, whatever the case may be. They want them there. And it's the old Apple routine. It's the old China model. Probably not the new China model, but the old. Get everybody there, and that's very good. Now, our biggest #1 competitor in this marketplace used to be somebody in the Southeast. It could be Virginia, it could be Tennessee, it could be South Carolina. But right now, our biggest competitor is Mexico. In Mexico, obviously, they have incredibly cheap labor, but Volkswagen, which they expanded one of their plants and opened a brand new plant down there 6 years ago, they now are kind of wishing they hadn't have done it because all of their folks are having to live behind walls. Their management came in, there was absolutely no infrastructure to speak of, and they're really struggling from a standpoint. They're having to actually bus in not only labor, but at the same time house them there and then bus them back out on the weekends. And so it's a very difficult and trying process. The other side of the issue is automobile manufacturers do not run 3 shifts anymore. Because of the robotics and the calibration, they take that 3rd shift to make sure everything is proper from a quality assurance standpoint. And that's really good, because if you know anything about quality assurance and you know anything about General Motors has got 29 million cars on the road this year alone in recall. Now, if you were a competitor, wouldn't you smile? Yeah, the competitors are. And so we basically think that we, from a standpoint of the strategy, when you look at the strategy of some of these international or foreign car manufacturers, many of them look beyond 20 and 30 years. Primarily Japanese manufacturers do not look at a strategic plan timeline of 30, 40, or even 1 century. Their philosophy is forever. And basically some of these that we are talking to right now, their philosophy is forever. And so that's a very nice benefit to all of us. Now, the other side is, I'm sure, unless you have been living under a rock, you have heard about Chatham Park. We have had the opportunity, all of us together, to be able to spend time with Bubba Rawls and Tim Smith of Preston Development, Chatham Partners. And at the same time, it was in Pittsboro Matters in Pittsboro, and it's in the Pittsboro ETJ. It has been finally approved, and it will start, and it will have some groundbreaking in the next 60 days for a series of medical suites across the street from Northwood. We're currently in negotiations still, what, Brian, 2 years now, with UNC Hospital? Mm-hmm. 2 years for a UNC Hospital facility behind Lowe's over there. And so when you look at, and the first step of Chatham Park will be the north section of Pittsboro. It'll be the northwest section up in here, like here's Pittsboro right here, and they're going to start right up in here. And that will bring 55, over the course of 25 to 30 years, 55,000 residents, 22,000 residential units, and about 22 million square feet of non-residential commercial square footage. Now, that all seems like a lot, and snowballing effect and everything else, and we live in a very unique place called this Governor's Club. And if you think all of that around here is not going to affect us in here, you haven't been listening. Because it's going to dramatically affect market values, because we're going to have a lot of people coming in and looking at this. And when you walk into these, when you drive into these gates, you're driving into an oasis. I've had so many people say, my God, I have never seen anything this beautiful in the Southeast. And so when you come in here, it is an absolute shock. And it's a positive shock. And so a lot of that's going to help. And at the same time, in Chatham County, 9% of our property tax base comes from commercial. 91% comes from residential. That means the higher the residential property tax base is, the higher property taxes you pay. Because from a commercial standpoint, we spend about 40 cents for every dollar we get on the commercial property taxes. We spend about $1.10 to $1.20 for every dollar we get on residential property taxes, because we have to put up schools and other things like that. So it's a very unique process, and so we've got a lot of things going, and those three strategies all fit together. Now, they're going to talk a little bit about how education fits into this, and a couple of other things that are very important to the future of Chatham County. Now, this over here is what we call, and it's now called a strategic land use plan. we worked with the Board of Commissioners and said, look, what do we really want to be when we grow up? How might this look in 25 or 30 years from now? And let's all spend some time talking with all of the citizens of Chatham County, along with them as well as other people, and say, what kind of community would you like? What should the county look like one of these days? And we went through a multiple series of public hearings with folks just like you, and we gave them 4 scenarios. And the whole series of scenarios, one was high growth, like 15501, looking like Chapel Hill to Durham. Another one was no growth, all agriculture and nothing else, and nobody gets to grow and have any jobs here. And another one was a balanced targeted employment centers and other things. And we said, pick a scenario. And they said, well, we don't want to pick one, we want to have a hybrid. And we said, no, you have to pick one. What you like and which one you don't like. And so they did all that, we came back, and they ultimately, the citizens as well as the Board of Commissioners approved this 5-0. It's basically rural preservation with targeted employment, a strategic land use plan. Now, they'll be putting some additional infrastructure needs underneath that in terms of a comprehensive land use plan. But for the first time in the history of Chatham County, these folks have been able to say, look, we now have a picture of what it's going to look like 15 or 20 years from now. By the way, all capital projects are already on this as we started. So actually the people were looking at something 5 years from today in terms of municipal capital projects, schools, ag center, all this other kind of stuff. So as you can see, a targeted employment center would be around Siler City, and you can see the Chatham-Randolph mega site. Over here, you're looking at, there's going to be a significant amount of commercial expansion relative to residential with Chatham Park. And over down in here, you're seeing the Moncure mega site, which is basically for light industrial. And that's near Highway 1 down there. And over here, you can see 15501, and you can see Chatham Crossing in a couple places. But the real key to this is there is some intense growth in certain areas, but the vast majority of the county remains rural, conservation, and agricultural with farms and everything. If you'll notice here, this pink stuff, these are the rivers, and they've been buffered. They've been buffered 200, in some cases 300 feet to make sure that Lake Jordan is protected. Never done before. And they've made a stake in the ground that says, look, we've got to protect our tributaries that pour into Jordan Lake. So that's the kind of the game plan from a standpoint of economic development that I've been wrapped up in. And I think some of you got my note the other day. As a week ago today, I resigned from the Economic Development Corporation as a member of the board, where I can go out and speak in behalf of them politically, because the EDC is apolitical. And therefore, I couldn't stand up here in front of you and say some of the things I'm going to say in a few minutes after they finish. But basically, it's extremely important that the next 4 years that we consider who we put in office and what they're going to do relative to that. And they're going to give you an opportunity for them to tell you that. I've also asked them basically to tell you a little bit about themselves, a little bit why did they want to run, what their career looks like, and what they're considering about doing. Then after that, we'll open it up for Q&As, and you guys can have at them. And then I'll try to close it out.
What's the Goldston circle there?
You're going to ask that. We had 14 people say, what's that little bitty thing?
No, the Goldston one.
Oh, the Goldston? That is a town.
Oh, it's just a targeted.
The targeted. Well, what happened with Goldston, Phil, is, and by the way, the county commissioners did a swing loan for Goldston to do their water sewer project, of which in the past, the towns and the county never talked to each other. Now they talk to each other. They collaborate. They kind of, and so that was able to help Goldston put their water sewer in. And so we're seeing this as a small area of economic opportunity down there in a different, little bit different manner.